Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about competitor analysis. So what to look for, why it's important. One of the things I wanted to introduce with is understanding the difference between your competitors online through Google Ads and your competitors offline, or who you deem to be your main rivals as a business. So most companies will already have an idea of who their key competitors are in the market. But it is crucial to understand that this can actually differ when looking at Google Ads competitor analysis. So when we talk about competitors from a Google Ads perspective, we're talking about anybody who's bidding on the same keywords that we're bidding on that's going to drive up our overall CPCs. It's going to impact our campaign performance in some way. So the small one-man band down the road that you might not consider a key major player in the market is still technically a competitor in terms of your Google Ads activity, and it's still, if they're active in their bidding, they are still a key competitor for you. They are impacting your overall CPCs, and it's good to keep an eye on exactly what they're doing and whether or not they're increasing their engagement in the market. So it's really important for you to understand exactly who are your competitors and what do they offer. So Google Ads actually gives us some good insight into our competitors from a PPC perspective. We're going to have a look in a short while at a bit of a deep dive into Google Ads Auction Insights, where it gives us visibility in terms of the competitor URLs who are also bidding in the same space as we are. But competitor analysis is also useful to give yourself a little bit of a revamp in terms of your own content. So when you think about competitor analysis, yes, it's good to see who your competitors are in the market, be aware of those, but it's also good to give yourself some time to actually dig into exactly what your competitor's doing. Have a look at, what they're saying in ads, what they're doing from a website perspective. Is there any USPs that they're pushing that we're not, or you're not, and you could be, or you could be saying something better? Think about what's really engaging from a competitor's perspective. So step out of your own business for a moment and that rivalry that you have with your competitors, and take a look at it from a customer perspective. If you were looking at the landscape when you do a search for a keyword that you are also bidding on, what do you see? Who jumps out at you and for what reasons? Sometimes it could be good reasons. You might identify offers, or you might like a specific kind of brand theme or messaging that a competitor's using. It's okay to see something and like it and also hate the fact that they have that, but think about how you can use that to your advantage and think about engaging customers with the messaging that you're using and the style that you have. Think about offers and promotions. Have a look at what competitors are doing. So are they better price led than you are? Are they more aggressive in terms of their discounts that they're offering? Do they have 40% when you only have 20%? Is it something that you can measure up to? Or is it something that you have to look at and think, actually, for me, for example, if somebody's offering a better price, maybe I can't go that low, but I know my quality and service is unbeatable. So I'm going to focus on that type of messaging and just deal with the fact that I'm not going to be able to compete with the offers that some of the competitors are doing. It's also really important from a competitor analysis to keep an eye on the trends in the market as well. So often competitor analysis, you might get a little bit left behind when you're in the day-to-day of a PPC campaign or an overall marketing campaign, but it is really important to give you overall insight into what's going on in the market. So Google Ads Auction Insights can give you a good indication in terms of what competitors are doing in terms of their demand. So are they increasing their overall positioning and impression share in the market, or are they pulling back at this time? Have new competitors entered the market? Are some more aggressive and some less? Are you in a situation where you've got a huge amount of competitors bidding, so it's actually driving up your overall costs and making your account less cost effective? It's really important that you utilize Google Ads Auction Insights to look into all these different things to help you better plan and strategize against your competitors. And the final note is just make sure that you actually stand out. So when you do a search for some of your core keywords, and the ads come up on the Google search engine, do you stand out in terms of your messaging? What's your USP versus what's your competitor USP? What's your call to action? What do you want customers to do when they see your ad? When you be honest with yourself, look at the ads. When you view it, are you intrigued? Are you engaged? Do you want to click on your own ad? So let's jump into a little bit of a screen share, and I will show you where Google Ads Auction Insights is within the interface and how to use it. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a deep dive into the Google Ads interface. So I've just popped into the Learner Freelance to Success demo account, and I'm going to show you where you need to navigate to in order to take a look into your competitors. So within Google Ads, we have the Auction Insight Report, and this gives you a chance to compare your overall performance with other advertisers who are basically in the same auctions that you are. So when you log into Google Ads, you can navigate over to the left-hand panel, drop down on campaigns, and you'll see campaigns and then the Auction Insights tab. So if you click onto here, this is your Auctions Insights section. Now you can change the date so that you are looking at the time range that you want to consider. So I've got all time on here, for example, but you can change it to the last 7 days, the last 30 days, whatever you want to look at specifically. Now what you can see is a breakdown in multiple columns that basically show, in column 1, a display URL, which is a list of your competitors. So you is, of course, you, so your own brand. This is where you're positioned. You'll not see any data in here for overlap rate, position above, or outranking share, but you will see data for your impression share, your top of page rate, and your absolute top of page rate. And then the other rows are, of course, your competitors. Now you'll see varying different figures here, and your impression share obviously can be up to 100%. In this example here, a lot of them are showing the less than 10%, so this is suggesting kind of smaller market players that are actually showing in my own specific auction insights. Now I'm just going to talk through each of the individual columns and kind of what they mean for us. So we have the impression share, of course, first. So this is basically the number of impressions that you received divided by the estimated number of impressions that Google deemed you were actually eligible to receive. So for example, if there was 100 searches in this time period and we have a 14% impression share, we got 14 impressions out of the 100 that were available. So your eligibility to show obviously is based on different factors. It's obviously to do with your current ads targeting settings, and of course your overall approval statuses, and of course not forgetting quality score. So there's lots of different things at play to which determines, you know, what your overall impression share is in the account. And this gives you a good indication in terms of, you know, how aggressive your competitors are being. So as you can see, it gives you the share of other competitors' impression share. So for example, Bark.com has got a 14.75% impression share on the same keywords that I'm in the auction for. So this means that they were getting slightly more impressions than I was, impression share than I was in the same time period. So that to me means that, you know, they're doing something a little bit differently. Maybe they've got more budget, you know, maybe they're pushing a little bit harder in terms of the CPCs, whatever it might be, they're getting slightly more of the action, I guess, than what I was. So this is a good way for you to look and get an overall understanding of the market share initially. Then you've got what's known as the overlap rate in the third column. So basically this is how often another competitor's ad received an impression where your ad also received an impression. So 19.81% of the time, Bark.com, for example, received an impression at the same time that I received an impression. And then we have moving into position above rate. So just note that obviously this is for search campaigns only for this column. So position above rate is basically how often another advertiser's ad was shown in a higher position than yours was when both of the ads were shown at the same time. So what we mean by that is when someone's done a search, let's say the search for I want to learn PPC, when both of our ads showed, so myself and Bark.com in this example, 48% of the time Bark.com ad actually showed in a higher position than what my ad showed. So that means that potentially that they're achieving, you know, more potentially more clicks because they're in a better position than I am, depending on, you know, what their message is saying, whether it's engaging or not. Being in position 1, for example, doesn't always mean that you're going to have the better click-through rate, but it does put you in good stead. So that's something to be mindful of as well. Then you have the top of page rate. So this basically lets you know how often your ad or the ad of one of your competitors was shown at the top of the page above the unpaid search results. So the top of the page rate for me was 50% or 50.40%, and for Bark.com it was 49%. Now what's interesting here is, although there's not much activity in terms of the overall impression share for a lot of these smaller competitors that are bidding, when they were bidding, their top of page rate was quite aggressive. So monkeyfishmarketing.com 91% of the time had a high top of the page rate. So they were quite aggressive in terms of their bidding, although not actively on all of the time. And then you've got what's known as the absolute top of page rate. So the absolute top of page rate is slightly different to the top of page rate, in that absolute top of page rate tells you how often your ad was shown at the absolute top of the page, so as the very first ad above the organics, like the very, very top position. So for example, if we had 100 impressions and our ad had 40 impressions in which it appeared at the very top, very first ad above the organic search results, then the absolute top of page position would be 40%. So in our case, we've got 50%, so 50% of the time that we had impressions, my ad in this case for this campaign showed at the absolute top position. Then finally, we have the outranking share. So basically, pause. So then finally we've got the outranking share, and this is basically how often a competitor's ad either showed when yours didn't, or it showed in a how often your ad ranked higher in the auction, or if it showed when yours didn't. So finally we've got outranking share, and this is basically how often an advertiser ranked higher than yours in the auction, or they showed and you didn't. So for example, we've got 12.79% for Bark, where they either outranked us or were shown and we weren't, and then you've got multiple other ones down here as well across the smaller impression share competitors. So that's an overview of the Google Ads Auction Insights. If you do get stuck at any time and need a little bit of a recap on exactly what each of the columns are, if you hover over these, it does actually give you a bit of a breakdown. So it'll give you Google's official breakdown of exactly what it is. And you can also click on this Learn More option, which will navigate to the sidebar and give you a little bit more of a description if you ever need some further insights into this. Thanks for joining, guys, and keep learning.